Donald Trump has issued a stark warning to Russian President Vladimir Putin. The U.S. president says Moscow will face severe consequences if it blocks peace in Ukraine. Trump didn't disclose specific details about the repercussions, but hinted at possible economic sanctions if his discussions with Putin prove unfruitful. The warning comes just 2 days before Trump and Putin sit down in Alaska for their first major summit.
Russia face any consequences if Vladimir Putin does not agree to stop the war after your meeting on Friday?
Yes, they will. Yeah.
What will the consequences
there will be
be?
consequences.
Sanctions, tariffs?
There will be, I don't have to say, there will be very severe consequences, yes.
Trump also said the conflict in Ukraine was the result of Biden's administration's policy, saying that it would never have happened if he were president. He pointed to his record claiming he stopped 5 wars in the last 6 months and even eliminated Iran's nuclear capabilities. The president said the goal of the meeting with Putin is to stop the war that has raged for more than 3 years and claimed tens of thousands of lives. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin on Thursday acknowledged the U.S. administration's sincere efforts to resolve the conflict in Ukraine and suggested Moscow and Washington could reach a deal on nuclear arms control.
I will tell you about the stage we are at with the current American administration, which, as everyone knows, is making, in my opinion, quite energetic and sincere efforts to stop the hostilities, stop the crisis, and reach agreements that are of interest to all parties involved in this conflict in order to create long-term conditions for peace, both between our countries and in Europe, and in the world as a whole, if at the next stage we reach agreements in the area of control over strategic offensive weapons. That is what I wanted to say at the beginning.
And the Kremlin shared details of the Trump-Putin meeting, stating that the summit will start at 11:30 a.m. local time Friday. Foreign policy advisors said that apart from Putin, the Russian delegation will include the country's foreign minister, defense minister, finance minister, and the head of the Sovereign Wealth Fund.
In addition to the presidents, 5 members of the delegation will participate in the negotiations. Of course, a group of experts will also be nearby. After the negotiations, Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump will hold a joint press conference at which they will summarize the results of the negotiations. As for the summit agenda, it is probably obvious to everyone that the central topic will be the settlement of the Ukrainian crisis.
Now, European leaders and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky recently met with Trump virtually, where they discussed red lines ahead of the Alaska meeting. Now, during the call, leaders outlined Ukraine's non-negotiable positions, and President Trump rated the conversation a 10 and said that Friday meeting with Putin is only setting the table, and if it goes well, he wants a second almost immediately with Zelensky at the table.
We're going to meet with, I would say, the second meeting. If the first one goes okay, we'll have a quick second one. I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself, if they'd like to have me there. And that would be a meeting where maybe it could be absolutely work.
Now, after the online talks with European leaders and Zelensky, French President Emmanuel Macron said Trump agreed that Ukraine's land cannot be negotiated without Kyiv's consent. And Germany's chancellor also stressed that Europe and the U.S. will increase pressure if Russia refuses to move. Zelensky, meanwhile, is rallying allies. In fact, he met European leaders in Berlin and is now visiting London for talks with UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Zelensky said Putin is bluffing about peace, using recent military gains to pressure Ukraine into concessions. He's also warned that the Alaska talks must not become a trap.
I
told the President of the United States and all our European colleagues, Putin is bluffing. He is trying to put pressure on all fronts of the Ukrainian front ahead of the meeting in Alaska. Russia is trying to portray itself as capable of occupying the whole of Ukraine. This is undoubtedly their desire.
Він хоче окупації нашої держави, і ми всі це дійсно розуміємо. Putin.
And as developments unfold, Russian forces have advanced further into eastern Ukraine, raising concerns about potential territorial gains by Russia. Reports state that Russia is preparing to test its new nuclear-armed cruise missile just ahead of the Alaska summit. Several satellite images taken in recent weeks show extensive preparations for the test launch in Russia, and the Alaska meeting is intended to address the nearly 3.5-year-old war, the largest conflict in Europe since World War II. The meeting now stands at a critical moment, and the outcome could shape not only the war in Ukraine, but the balance of power far beyond it.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka karj mo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Fiskali radikali.
Japanese,
4 兆ドル以上も.
Portuguese,
Por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select the language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.